Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a really interesting look at the global hybrid power systems market.
Yeah, we've sifted through quite a detailed market report here.
And the plan is simple, really. We want to give you a solid grasp of where this market stands now, where it's headed, what's pushing it forward, the key regions involved. Basically, a shortcut to being well-informed on this.
Exactly. And it's already a pretty significant market, but the growth potential is, well, substantial. The headline number from our source, it's projected to hit USD 2,561.5 million in 2025.
Okay, 2.5 billion, roughly. That's a solid starting point. But you said growth potential. What are we looking at there?
Get this, the forecast sees it more than doubling, reaching USD 693.6 million by 2033.
Wow, doubling by 2033.
Yeah, and that works out to a compound annual growth rate, a CGR of 10.50%.
Okay, CAGR. Just quickly, for anyone maybe less familiar, that's basically the average growth each year, assuming profits get reinvested. So 10.5%, that's pretty punchy growth. Suggests some real shifts happening.
It really does. And this strong growth isn't just happening out of the blue. There are some clear drivers.
Like what? What's pushing this forward?
Well, first off, there's the big one, the increasing global focus on cutting carbon emissions, promoting sustainability. That desire for cleaner energy is a major catalyst.
Right, that makes total sense. The whole green transition is impacting everything, energy especially.
hmm
What else is the report pointing to?
Secondly, the cost effectiveness of renewables. Solar and wind technologies specifically. They're just getting cheaper and, frankly, better.
Ah, the economics. So it's not just good for the planet anymore.
Exactly. It's increasingly becoming a sound financial move. As these costs drop, hybrid systems look much more attractive economically speaking. This price parity, or getting close to it, is really changing how people think about energy investments.
Okay, so environmental push plus improving economics. What was the third driver? Something about emerging markets.
Yeah, the expansion of industries and just general urbanization in developing economies.
How does that connect to hybrid power specifically?
Well, think about it. Growing economies, more people in cities. That means soaring demand for reliable power.
And existing grids might struggle.
Precisely. In many emerging markets, the grid might be unreliable, or it might be really expensive and difficult to extend it everywhere. Hybrid systems offer a way to plug those gaps, often more locally and resiliently.
Got it. So a mix of green policies, better tech costs, and just sheer demand in growing parts of the world. Okay, let's pivot to geography. How does this break down regionally?
Right now, North America holds the biggest share, over 40% of the global revenue, actually.
40%. Okay.
The estimate for 2025 is around USD 947.7 million. And it's still growing at a decent clip, projected 8.9% CAGR through 2033. Things like energy security concerns and government incentives for renewables are big factors there.
Makes sense for North America. What about across the Atlantic and Europe?
Europe's also a major player. They hold over 30% of the market, about USD 742.8 million in 2025.
And their drivers? Similar.
Similar themes, yeah. Strong commitments to clean energy, improving energy resilience. Think about Germany's Energiewende, their big energy transition plan. That kind of policy really fuels this market.
So North America and Europe are the current heavyweights.
Yeah.
But you mentioned earlier there's a region with particularly explosive growth expected.
Indeed. That would be the Asia-Pacific region, APAC. Currently, it's about 23% of the global share, roughly USD 614.7 million in 2025.
Okay, a smaller share now. But
Yeah. It's projected to have the highest growth rate by far, a CAGR of 13.3%.
13.3%. Wow, so a lot of the future action is expected there. Why such high growth in APAC?
It's a combination of things. Rapid industrialization, for one, plus huge efforts in many countries to get electricity to rural areas.
Right, rural electrification.
Exactly. Think about massive economies like China and India. They need reliable, cost-effective power fast. China's market is pegged at USD 258.2 million in 2025, growing at 12.8%. India's smaller at USD 61.48 million, but growing even faster, 15.2% CAGR.
15%, that's huge.
Yeah, both countries are really focused on diversifying their energy sources and making their grids more reliable.
Those numbers really paint a picture of different speeds and needs globally. What about South America? The report covers that too, right?
It does. South America has just over 5% of the global market, around USD 97.3 million in 2025, growing at a strong 11.2% CAGR.
And the story there?
Similar themes, again, clean energy incentives from governments, the push for rural electrification. Brazil and Argentina are key examples.
Brazil's market is about USD 41.66 million, growing at 11.8%, and Argentina USD 16.35 million, growing at 12.1%. Part of that is driven by, interestingly, relatively high electricity costs in some areas.
Yeah.
Lots of remote regions needing power.
Makes sense. And the Middle East and Africa, different energy landscapes there.
Yeah, what's the picture?
The Middle East is around 2% of the global share currently, about USD 102.4 million in 2025, but growing fast too, 11.8% CGR.
Driven by their massive solar potential.
Exactly that. Abundant sunshine plus a strategic push to integrate more renewables into their energy mix. Countries like Saudi Arabia, that's USD 36.07 million, 12.1% growth, and the UAE, USD 21.11 million, 1.3% growth, are really leaning into this.
Okay, and Africa often faces unique energy access issues.
Africa's share is smaller, around 1%, estimated at USD 56.3 million in 2025, with a 10.8% CAGR.
What's helping growth there?
A lot of support from international development groups, plus the critical need for reliable power where grids can be, well, pretty unstable. Nigeria, for example, is around USD 4.5 million, 11% growth. South Africa is bigger, nearly USD 20 million, growing at 11.7%. Lots of potential, but also challenges.
It's fascinating how these systems are being adapted region by region.
Yeah.
Okay, let's drill down a bit more. The report looks at different types of hybrid systems, right? And where they're used.
Yes. So product text first. The wind-solar-diesel combination, that's expected to be the dominant setup.
Why that specific mix?
It just offers really consistent, reliable power. You get the best of intermittent renewables. Wind and solar often complement each other. Plus, you have the diesel generator as a dependable backup for when the sun isn't shining and the wind isn't blowing.
Kind of covering all bases for reliability. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Is there a segment that's growing particularly fast, though?
Yes. Interestingly, the PV diesel hybrid segment, that's photovoltaic solar plus diesel, is the fastest growing.
PV diesel. Why is that one taking off so quickly?
Seems particularly effective for off-grid sites or places where the grid connection is weak or unreliable. Think remote communities, telecom towers, maybe even clinics in rural areas, places where having power is absolutely critical.
Right, essential services in remote spots. Okay, so that's the what. What about the where? Where are these systems being applied?
Application-wise, the residential segment actually holds the largest share right now.
Homes. Really? Why is
Yeah.
that?
Well, growing populations, more people moving to cities, rising electricity demand overall, especially in places where, again, the grid might not be up to scratch or even exist. Hybrid systems give households more flexibility, potentially more reliability.
Okay, residential leads. But the report mentioned another sector moving fast.
Yes, the commercial sector is expanding rapidly. Businesses are feeling the pressure from customers, investors, regulators to be more sustainable, cut their carbon footprint.
So hybrid systems help with that.
Definitely. It's a tangible way to lower emissions, improve their public image. It's becoming a smart business move, not just an ethical one.
Interesting how sustainability is becoming a competitive factor. What about that rural facility electrification point?
Absolutely crucial. Hybrid systems are often the most viable way to bring power to underserved rural areas. Extending the main grid can be incredibly expensive and complex logistically. These systems offer a pathway to reliable electricity, which, transforms lives and opens up economic opportunities.
So homes, businesses, remote communities, it's quite a broad impact. Now, no market grows this fast without hitting some bumps. What challenges does the report highlight?
Yeah, there are definitely hurdles. The big one is cost. The initial capital investment for a full hybrid system can be pretty high.
Even with renewable costs falling.
Even so, the whole system, panels, turbines, batteries, generator controls, it adds up. That upfront cost is a barrier for many, plus ongoing operational costs, especially concerning fuel.
The diesel part.
Right. Feedstock availability and especially the price volatility of things like diesel fuel. That's a major consideration for the long-term economics and stability.
Those are definitely practical realities to deal with. Okay, let's look ahead. Beyond the challenges, what trends are shaping the future here? What's coming next?
Well, there's ongoing tech development, things like advancements in syngas production and how it's used. That could lead to new ways to store and convert energy within these systems, making them even more efficient.
Syngas. Interesting.
Mm.
What else?
We're also seeing the applications broadening out, moving more into industrial sectors beyond just homes and standard commercial buildings. That suggests hybrid power is finding relevance in more heavy-duty settings.
So potentially powering factories or industrial processes, that could be big.
Could be. And generally, companies are really focusing on squeezing more efficiency and reliability out of these systems. That means innovation in energy storage. Better batteries are key. Also, smarter grid management, more sophisticated energy management software.
And I bet AI comes into play somewhere.
You bet. The integration of artificial intelligence and machine learning is definitely gaining traction, using it for things like predictive maintenance, figuring out when a part might fail before it does, and just optimizing the whole system's operations second by second. That promises better efficiency and lower running costs down the line.
AI optimizing our power generation.
What?
Fascinating. Did the report have any recent sort of real-world examples of this innovation?
Yeah, actually, a very recent one from July 2024. SMA Solar Technology AG, they provided a solar battery storage solution to a hospital in Ukraine.
A hospital in Ukraine. Wow.
Exactly. The system is designed to guarantee reliable power for critical operations and, crucially, provide emergency backup if the main grid goes down. It's a really powerful example of how these systems provide resilience in incredibly challenging situations.
That really brings home the impact these systems can have. Okay, as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, what's the main takeaway, the core message listeners should hold on to about this market?
I think the key thing is that this hybrid power systems market is incredibly dynamic, it's growing fast, and it's being propelled by this really potent mix of factors. The global push for sustainability, renewables getting cheaper, and just the fundamental need for energy in growing economies everywhere.
Absolutely. And as we've heard, the growth numbers are significant, but it plays out differently, region by region, application by application. It's a market that's not just growing, it's actively shaping how we'll generate and use power in the future.
For sure. Which leads to kind of a final thought, maybe something for you to chew on.
So on.
Given all these different drivers and uses we've talked about, what are some of the unexpected areas, industries maybe, where you think hybrid power might make significant inroads in the next few years? And on the flip side, what kind of innovations will be absolutely essential to knock down those cost barriers and really unlock this market's full potential?
Unexpected applications and crucial innovations. That's definitely something to think about.
A lot happening in this space.